Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I am your host Steve Ortman, flying solo this week. Yes, that's right. I've been told, apparently, ever since my beloved New England Patriots won the Super Bowl on Sunday. Did you know this? Did you hear about this? Apparently I've been kind of annoying to be around. People don't like it when I talk about the Patriots. They don't like the Patriots in general. And so I've been pretty much advised by the executive producers and anyone around me that I have to do the show solo this week. So here I am. But let's get on to the more important things anyway, and that is the Cascade girls basketball program saw a couple of really interesting, fun milestones take place this past Monday night as the Class 2A number 5 ranked Cougars, they improved to 19-1 with a 45-30 victory over River Valley Conference rival Bellevue. And not only did that victory clinch the outright conference championship for the Cougars, also saw a couple milestones take place. First up, All-State junior guard Nicole McDermott scored her 1,000th point of her career. And it's really quite an accomplishment, especially just as a junior to do so. She came in as a freshman and really made an impact right away for the Cougars. She's been such a big part of this team now for going on her third season. And, what's interesting in the game against Bellevue is that she went 0 for 2 and didn't score a point in the first half, and the crowd had all their 1,000-point signs ready to go, getting excited for it. Well, she came through in the third quarter. She scored all 7 of her points in that frame and really helped the way with the Cougars kind of making that push to kind of get some distance from Bellevue in that game. Very selfless player, really a player that kind of makes everyone around her better. And we saw that last year at the Iowa State tournament where she was a huge factor in the Cougars winning their first ever state basketball championship. So quite an accomplishment for Nicole McDermott. Let's take a look at the play where she stepped back jumper, hit 1,000 points, and I caught up with Nicole after the game and she talked about the accomplishment.
This milestone's huge, but I gotta give credit to my parents first of all. What they do for me is crazy. And then Sconsa too, his confidence in me, that's huge. Then my teammates always have my back, not just this year, but my past teammates too. All they do for me and everything, I just can't even thank them enough.
Obviously, you guys are coming off the first state championship ever for this program, and you guys are rolling right along. Talk about how this team's, kind of keeping things going this season.
Yeah, well, we always talk about that, how this year we're in the same position as everybody else. We're chasing that title too, we're not defending it. So yeah, we're on a win streak. We got a big one Thursday, just looking to keep the winning streak going into the tournament.
Now, it was a big night for the Cascade program, not only because of Nicole McDermott's accomplishment, but because of head coach Mike Sconsa reaching his 300th career victory. Sconsa is in his 15th season leading the Cougars. He has taken the team down to the state tournament on 6 occasions and, of course, led the Cougars to their very first state championship last season. He holds a 366 career record at Cascade, certainly one of the best area girls basketball coaches we have here in the Tri-States. It's all about defense with Sconsa and making the clutch plays on offense. Now, Coach Sconsa is one of the most humble guys you'll ever come across. Not really a guy that wants to talk about, 300 career victories. So I said, you know what? Why don't we talk to some of his players to see what makes Coach Sconsa such a special guy? Take a look.
Coach Sconsa just really pushes us to be the best that we can be, and he always yells at us and gets in our face, but we all know that he just loves us and he cares for us and he wants us to do the best that we can do.
My sophomore year, when I was on the varsity basketball team, I had confidence issues, and he really helped me develop as a player and as a person to overcome my self-confidence issues. And then my junior year, he really helped me feel like I had a position on the team and go to state.
Coach Sconsa really he always pushes us to the best of our abilities, even when we're in practice or just in a game or even in his classroom. He really just pushes us to be the best people we can be. And it's not always about how we play on the court, it's about the effort we give.
Okay, so a little funny thing about Mr. Sconsa is he used to say when he was in high school he missed a lot of layups and stuff, and I like to relate that back to me because I know I don't always make all my shots, but I think it's funny when he gets on me about it, and I just like to look at him and be like, you're in the same boat as me sometimes.
So Mike, after 299 wins, we do the same thing in the locker room before every game. 6 minutes, we come in the locker room and do the same thing. On our last game, number 299, he messes it up. He leads us in this chant every game, and he messed it up. After all these years, he still can't get it right before the game. But they got the girls loose, and we played really well last game too. So hopefully that helps. Great win for Mike tonight, and all the kids did really well tonight.
Yeah, Sconsa to us, like we don't give him enough credit. Like behind what he does for us with scouting and all that in practice, encouraging us, getting us ready to go for the games. Nobody sees that, so we appreciate what he does for us that way.
All right, very special night for the Cascade girls basketball program. And I thought, you know what, I'd be remiss if I didn't share a kind of a fun Coach Sconsa story myself before we close out this episode, is kind of joining with the players here. Now, as you may or may not know, every year the Telegraph Herald hands out the Coach of the Year honor for girls basketball. And 2 seasons ago, Sconsa led the Cougars down to the state tournament again for another really nice run. And just looking at what the talent they had and what he was able to do with that team, he was awarded our Telegraph Herald Coach of the Year honor. Now last year, of course, he takes the Cougars down to the state tournament. They make an unbelievable run with a couple of upsets. They lose one of their best players along the way, and they win their first ever state championship. So, tough call as it always is, but we decided to give Sconsa Coach of the Year for the 2nd straight year. I talked to Mike, did the interview, and then the very next day, myself and Jim Leitner, sports senator, got an email from Mike asking, I really appreciate the honor, but is there anyone else you could give it to? He even name dropped a couple coaches that he thought was worthy of the Coach of the Year honor, and he's right, they certainly were. But even in that scenario, he was too humble. He didn't like the idea of getting the Coach of the Year 2 years in a row. Too many other great coaches in the area as well. So anyways, he got the award. And you know what, Coach? If you're watching, he might be humble enough, he might even want to watch this. But you know what, Coach? If you're watching, Scouts honor, you will not be Coach of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. I don't even care if you win state again. So there. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I'm your host, Steve Ortman. We'll see you next week.